My mom said, "Thanksgiving will be small this year, just adults." I said okay. That evening, I opened Facebook and saw her dining room crowded with my golden brother's kids, tables piled high with food. My daughter whispered, "Why weren't we there?" I snapped a photo of their $2,800 utility payment and sent, "Consider it cut off." By morning, my golden brother had called 42 times, begging. This started the week before Thanksgiving on a random Tuesday when my mom called and casually said, "Thanksgiving will be small this year, just adults." No warm-up, no reason, just that one line like it was no big deal. I asked if something happened, if maybe someone was sick or plans changed, but she didn't even hesitate. "No, it's just easier this way." She said it the same way someone might cancel a lunch date. Like it had no weight at all. But I knew what she meant. Easier meant not having my daughter there. Easier meant excluding the one person in the family who doesn't come with 4 loud kids and a freeloading husband. Easier meant cutting out the one who never caused problems, but was always treated like he did. I'm a single dad. Been one since Emma was 4. Her mom took off, and I haven't heard from her in 5 years. Emma's my whole life. She's 9 now. Reads 2 grades above her level. Loves dinosaurs and hot chocolate. And always says thank you without being told. She's also got this way of picking up on things like she already knew without asking that this year wasn't about just adults. It was about us not being wanted. So I played alone, said okay. I didn't want Emma to hear the tension in my voice. So I waited until she went to bed before I let myself feel it. I've always been the quiet one in the family. The one who works helps when asked. Doesn't make a scene. I send money when my parents can't cover something. Like when their AC broke last summer or when Mark's car was repossessed. I'm the reliable one, which in my family means I get taken for granted. We made our own plans. I told Emma we'd cook our own little Thanksgiving at home, just the 2 of us. We spent the morning in pajamas making chicken instead of turkey because our oven's too small. She set the table with paper napkins and a construction paper turkey she made the night before. We watched old movies and laughed at stuff that wasn't even funny. It wasn't sad. Not yet. Around 8:30 p.m. After she curled up next to me with a full belly and the start of a chocolate smudge on her cheek, I opened Facebook without thinking. Just muscle memory. Scrolling to kill time. And then I saw it. My mom's dining room. Full spread. Giant turkey, baked mac and cheese, 3 pies, the good china. Mark was there with all 4 of his kids. Ashley, his wife, was helping in the kitchen. My parents were smiling, and every photo like this was the best year yet. They had brought out the folding tables, the extra chairs. They even set up in the backyard with patio heaters and string lights. I kept scrolling, each picture worse than the last. It wasn't just a small dinner. It was the biggest one they'd done in years. And every single person in that house knew Emma, and I were left out on purpose. I just sat there for a few minutes staring at the screen while my daughter, who thinks the world of them, started waking up slowly from the noise of my phone buzzing. She looked at one photo and asked real quiet, "Why weren't we there?" Something snapped in me right then. I opened my messages, pulled up a photo I'd taken a few days earlier, a screenshot of the utility bill my mom had sent, $2,800. They were late again, and she had asked if I could cover it just for now until things got better. I sent it back to her, just the photo. And below it, one line. Consider it cut off. I put my phone down and tucked Emma in without saying anything else. I didn't cry. I didn't rant. I just lay there staring at the ceiling. By the time I woke up, Mark had called me 42 times. No one had called that many times in my life. Not for an emergency, not for anything. 42 times between midnight and 8 a.m. No voicemails, just calls. Something was unraveling. And for once, I wasn't going to fix it. By noon the next day, the calls weren't just from Mark. My mom, my dad, even my uncle, who I hadn't spoken to since the Super Bowl 3 years ago, started blowing up my phone. One message from my mom stood out. "You're overreacting. Don't punish the whole family over a misunderstanding." Misunderstanding. They'd thrown a Thanksgiving party behind my back, lied to me, excluded my daughter, then called it a misunderstanding. That's when I realized just how far gone they were. They weren't confused. They just didn't think I'd ever stand up for myself. Emma was playing in the backyard when the doorbell rang. It was Mark, unannounced, no warning, standing on my porch like he wasn't the reason any of this happened. He didn't even look mad, just panicked. He opened with, "We need to talk," and without waiting started in on how my message had really upset Mom. how she'd been crying all night, and how you made the kids feel guilty. I asked him straight up why he didn't say anything when I was excluded, why he let Emma be cut out of the only holiday she looks forward to. He had the nerve to shrug and say, "I didn't plan it. I just went with what Mom said." That's what Mark always does. Goes with what Mom says as long as it benefits him. She's been bailing him out since he was 22. 2 failed businesses. A brief stint in crypto. He hasn't held a real job in almost 8 years. He and Ashley live in a house my parents bought, drive cars they helped finance, and still ask for grocery money. And who do they call when my parents can't swing it? Me. Every time. I told him flat out I wasn't paying another cent. Not the utilities, not his kids' dental bills, not gas money, not even a damn pack of diapers if they had another baby. He started pacing, trying to make it about the kids, how they'd suffer, how I was turning my back on family. Then, in a strange twist, he said, "Ashley said this would happen. She told me you'd finally snap." That stopped me cold. Ashley, the only one in that chaos who'd ever had an actual conversation with me. She used to work before Mark convinced her to stay home full-time with the kids. She was sharp, straightforward, and oddly enough, always defended me in small ways. She'd apologize when Mark asked for money. Once, she even said, "You know you're the only functional person in this family, right?" I laughed back then, but now it didn't feel like a joke. Mark eventually stormed off when I wouldn't bend. He muttered something about telling Dad and how I'd regret it, but I just shut the door and watched him go. That night, Ashley texted me. It was short. "I'm sorry. You're not wrong." That one line told me everything. Even she knew Mark was a lost cause. I didn't reply. I had a better idea. I opened my files and pulled up my email inbox. Years of receipts, bank transfers, screenshots of texts where they begged for money, even recordings of phone calls, because after a while, I stopped trusting just my memory. But one recording stood out. A voice memo I'd saved by accident. 6 months ago, Mark had called me late at night. I'd left the recorder running and forgotten about it. He was drunk, ranting about how Mom and Dad act like their help is some grand sacrifice, and how he wished they'd just shut up if they were going to give so little. I played it now and smiled, knowing exactly what to do. The next day, I drove to my parents' house. Not to talk things through. That ship had already sunk, but to leave a message they couldn't twist into another guilt trip. I had the recording queued up, but I didn't play it right away. I wanted to see their faces first. Mom opened the door with this stiff smile, like she wasn't sure if she should hug me or slap me. Dad stayed in his chair in the living room, arms crossed, TV low, pretending not to seethe. They already knew I'd cut off the monthly bailout. "I don't know what you're trying to prove," Mom said before I'd even sat down. "I'm not here to argue," I told them. "I'm here to draw a line." Mom launched into the usual script, that I was too sensitive, that I'd misunderstood Thanksgiving, that no one had meant to exclude me, and how Emma wouldn't even remember it in a year. Dad stayed mostly quiet until he finally said, "You're punishing the whole family over something petty." Petty. That was the trigger. I pulled out my phone and hit play. Mark's voice filled the room, slurred and bitter. "They act like their help is some big sacrifice. Mom sends me grocery money and expects a thank you card. Dad gives me gas money and throws it in my face every time. If their support's so damn sacred, maybe they should stop giving such cheap help." The room froze. My mom's eyes darted away. My dad finally leaned forward, and Mark's voice kept spilling from the phone. "They think they're generous. Alex is the only reason we're not homeless. And even he acts like he's better than everyone just because he's not drowning in bills." I stopped the recording. "You've been feeding him," I said. "And he still resents you. He doesn't respect you. He doesn't even like you. He uses you. And when you run out, he comes to me." My mom looked like she couldn't find words. My dad stood and asked if I could send them the file. I did. No snide remarks, no drama, just forwarded it right there in their living room. Then I told them plainly, I was done. I wouldn't bankroll their bad decisions. I wouldn't be the family ATM. I wouldn't let Emma be guilt-tripped into believing she was unwanted. That cycle was over. I walked out before either of them said much. Mom muttered something about talking later, but I didn't answer. That night, Mark called. Straight to voicemail. He was crying. Said Mom had played him the audio. Said Dad called him a disgrace and hung up. Said Ashley was furious and had taken the kids to her sisters. "Please, man, don't do this to me. You know how things are. You know I didn't mean it. But he did mean it. He just never thought anyone else would hear. I didn't delete the voicemail. I saved it. The days after I played the recording were eerily quiet. No calls, no passive-aggressive texts, no fake apologies. Nothing. In a normal family, silence might mean regret, processing, maybe even growth. But in mine, silence is a weapon. It means they're regrouping, rewriting the story, so I'm the villain and Mark's the misunderstood martyr. I didn't care. For the first time in years, I slept without a knot in my chest. Emma and I even took a spontaneous weekend trip to a cabin up north. We roasted marshmallows, played board games, hiked through leaves that crunched under every step. I kept my phone on airplane mode the whole time, like the rest of the world didn't exist. But Sunday night, as soon as we pulled into the driveway, reality was waiting. An envelope taped to my front door, official looking, sealed tight, my full name printed in bold. No return address. I opened it right there on the porch, Emma still in the car with her headphones on. It was from a law office. Not a real lawsuit, just a formal request for repayment of supposed family loans, $42,000. According to the letter, my parents had bankrolled me for school, my first car, even rent. Total fabrication. They'd never covered a dime of those things. Year after year, I was the one paying for Mark's car repairs, for their maxed-out credit cards. But now they were flipping it, rewriting history, painting me as the leech they'd carried for a decade. That I stood there staring at the letter, stunned but not surprised. They'd even included a typed payment plan with dates and amounts. But the real shock was the second envelope slipped under my door. No name, just Ashley's handwriting. I'm sorry. Mark's crossed the line. You deserve the truth. Taped to it was a USB drive. The recording was clear. Mark, laughing with a buddy, bragging about how he got Mom to cut me from Thanksgiving, how he'd fake cry later to get money, how he forged bills, lied about hospital papers, even tricked Dad into co-signing a loan for a luxury watch. No drunken rant this time, just calculated schemes. Ashley's note admitted she'd begged him to change, begged my parents to see through him, but nothing worked. Maybe you can make them see. I'm sorry it's come to this. I didn't feel shock, just clarity. I made copies of the recording everywhere. This wasn't just evidence. It was insurance. Years of being gaslit had led here, and Mark had dug his own grave. Monday morning, I sent the file to Mom, Dad, Mark, and Ashley with one line. Play with the volume up. Nothing else. By noon, my phone lit up with missed calls. I ignored them. Late afternoon, Dad showed up at my door. He didn't look angry, just hollow. I heard it. All of it, he said. He admitted they'd believed Mark's stories, that I was jealous, that I made Emma feel above the family, because it was easier than questioning him. Finally, he looked at me and said, I'm sorry. They'd been quietly paying off credit cards Mark opened in my parents' names, lying about medical bills and car repos, and my dad even co-signed a loan Mark said was for a house down payment. It paid for a $3,000 watch instead. I didn't come to fix anything, Dad said. We're not in denial anymore, and left without asking for a second chance. That night Ashley called. She'd left Mark, taken the kids to her sister's, and found a secret savings account where he'd been siphoning money for years, pretending to drown while hoarding cash. Mark posted a vague martyr message on Facebook. I didn't respond that I had more than the USB Ashley gave me. A 6-month-old voice memo of Mark saying he was waiting until I've got enough saved to disappear. I copied it, burned drives, printed a transcript, and slipped an envelope with the audio to my parents. Listen all the way through, then decide. That afternoon Mom called, quiet, stunned. They confronted Mark. He didn't deny it. Dad cut him off financially. Mom said, we should have listened to you years ago. We want to make it right, with you and with Emma. I didn't promise anything. Later Mark texted, congrats. Hope you enjoy watching the family fall apart. I didn't reply, because it wasn't falling apart. It was finally being rebuilt without him.